Hi everyone, it's me. So today, I'm gonna get in trouble. People have asked me to do a video about the North and South divide, and I said no, because I ain't touching that. But I thought, you know what, it's 2020, let's give the people what they asked for. Please be kind to me in the comments. Thank you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alanna and I am a Canadian living here in Kent, England, which is the South in this North versus South debate, and I don't know where to begin. I guess with this video, we're going to talk about what is the North versus South divide here, specifically in England, but it is also sort of a UK thing, and some people's stereotypes or perceptions of it. I spoke to actual, real, live, breathing Brits. I asked their opinion, and also you're gonna get my uneducated foreigner opinion. And then we're all gonna have arguments in the comments. I can't wait. So without further ado, let's go. So I guess one of the first issues we come into is what is considered North and what is considered South. And I don't really know. Now, Wikipedia says Northern England approximately comprises 3 statistical regions: the Northeast, the Northwest, Yorkshire, and the Humber. And they also use this map. Now, other people consider the Watford Gap to be the dividing line between the North and the South, and that is, there's 2 hills, and it is close to the village of Watford in Northamptonshire. Hope I said that right? Probably not. Now, if we want to make things even more confusing, the Standard reported a change in the North-South boundary, and it now looks like this, which looks wrong to me, but their idea is that the UK's population centre has moved from Upper Midway in Derbyshire to Snarestone in Leicestershire. The shift is due to increasing number of people moving southeast for better employment opportunities. Yay. What I found really fascinating was they reported that large northern cities, including Birmingham, Newcastle, and Glasgow, have seen more people leave in the last 5 censuses carried out over the last 40 years. So more people have left those northern cities in search of better jobs. That's a whole other thing that I'm not even going to get into. Right now we're talking about North versus South. Are you still with me? So with that really poor explanation, you kind of have an idea. Let's just say England as a whole is split in half. If you want to include the UK as well, you can. I think primarily this deals with England, but Scotland has their own opinions because y'all got lots of opinions up there. I appreciate that. I'm here, I am listening. Now, what I wanted to do for this video was talk to actual people about their perceived stereotypes. And yes, these are all stereotypes, okay? Just saying that now. I think it would be understood that these are stereotypes, but I thought I should just say it anyway. Please. These are stereotypes. Now, I have a Patreon account that people can support me through there, and I post extra videos and photos and stuff. And I also live stream on Twitch every Sunday. Now, people who support me on those platforms have access to a chat room that I am in with all of them. And I basically posed them this question. I said, are you a Northerner or a Southerner? And how do you see your region based on stereotypes, and how do you see the other region based on stereotypes? And I took all their answers and I wanted to share them with you guys and see if you agree with these particular stereotypes. Now, what's fascinating is the people in my chat room are primarily Northern. So we can either deduct that that means Northerners are more likely to be generous, they're more likely to be supportive, or maybe there's just not a lot to do in the North. So it could be a combination. Now, before we get started, I do want to know, are you a Northerner or a Southerner? So if you leave a comment down below, YouTube, like analytics and stuff, can't tell me where people are from specifically, but it does tell me that like 80% of my viewers are British, but that's all it can tell me. So I'd love to know, do we have more Northerners here or do we have more Southerners? And please let the fight begin in the comments. So leave a comment if you are Northern or Southern. I'd also want to point out that some of these comments come from Scots. Hey, how's it going? My family was originally Scottish. Throwing that out there. I feel you guys. So this isn't just English people talking about themselves. We do have a Scottish opinion. I don't think we have any Welsh. We'll talk about them later. As always, they get pushed to the side, and we will talk about them at another time. So the people in my chat room responded back, and the Northerners said that they see Northerners as nice, friendly, easygoing, loud, outspoken, straight talkers, approachable, hospitable, blunt, fun, dry, grumpy, we complain like nobody else. They swear more, old-fashioned, set in their ways, and good-humored. So that is how Northerners see Northerners. And of course, this is a very small sample size. This is not scientific. This is YouTube. You are on a woman's channel on YouTube. I am not a scientist. Okay, I just do this for fun. Now, what do these Northerners say about Southerners? They say Southerners stereotypically are rude, stuck up, pretentious, snobs, standoffish, tight with money, a lot less likely to meet your eyes when you pass into the street, much harder to start a conversation with. However, they're also hardworking. They're ambitious, way more spend happy. Now, this one's a little bit different because some Northerners think that Southerners are tight with money, and some think that they are way more likely to spend money. So that kind of goes either way. Northerners think Southerners are more cultured, more adventurous, wealthier, more likely to be well-educated, quiet, closed off, but tend to look down on those less fortunate than themselves. So that gives you sort of an idea of what Northerners see themselves as, but also how Northerners see Southerners. And of course, these are all stereotypes. We know that. I know that. You know that. Okay? It's just fun to think about. All right? Relax. Then I asked these Southerners, okay, Southerners, how do you see yourself? How do you see Southerners? And they said, Southerners are typically more reserved, potentially willing to try new things, not as strong-willed to old traditions, tend to be more educated, more cultured, higher quality of life, large focus on manners and politeness, quiet, more likely to be well-traveled. Now, the Southerners commented on what they think Northerners are stereotypically like, and they said Northerners are more outgoing, sociable, lower class, less cultured, louder, more expressive, and bigger drinkers. All right. Now, as a foreigner, I am not Northern and I'm not Southern, but I have always lived in the southeast of England, specifically in Kent. I know a lot of expats will go to London and they're like, yay, London is life. I moved to England because my partner is English. So I went where he is, which is Kent. I wouldn't have gone to London anyway because London is just not my city, but I have been living in Kent for the last 4 years. So I guess in this conversation I would associate as a Southerner just because I've never lived in the North and I've done limited traveling up there. I'd like to do more. I just, it's money and it's time and it's leaving the house, which is hard sometimes. So for me, a lot of what my viewers have said makes sense to me in terms of it's the same sort of stereotypes that I've heard. I've always heard, Northerners are, loud and brash and, they're the barbarians, where the Southerners are like, ooh, rich people. They're just like weak-willed and they complain about everything and they're not friendly and all the rest of it. So it's just really interesting to see how different areas of such a small country see themselves and each other. Now, every country will have some sort of divide. This isn't like a new thing to England or the UK, but what I find really fascinating is coming to England, it's not something that I ever really thought about living in Canada. It's just not something that you ever really see. And yet, when I came here, I definitely noticed, and maybe it's more because I post on YouTube and I have access to so many people, but I would get so many comments from people being like, ooh, Southerners are crap, you should move up north, Northerners are nicer, Northerners are funnier, and I never really considered that there would be like this unspoken competition. Because if you take my home country, Canada, Canada is big. I don't know if you know that. Second largest country in landmass next to old Russia. It's a big place. Now, if you take Canada, the biggest divides would be from province to province to province to territory, because they are so different and they're so huge, and it's just divides that way, but it's not really noticeable. What I find really fascinating is you take a place, say we just talk about England, right? The divide between just North England and South England. You're all English. Okay, you're all England. You all live on the same tiny little island, and yet there's like a rivalry, there's a competition, there's like this divide. And I was thinking about it. I come from Ontario, and there is a divide between the North and the South because they're very different locations, but it's not something that comes up really ever. And what's fascinating to me, at least, is that in Ontario, you can fit the UK, all of the UK, 4 times. And you can fit just England into Ontario over 8 times. So for such a small, tiny little island, even just a small, tiny little country of England, you can fit England into my home province, not country, province, over 8 times. And yet you guys have developed this rivalry and this competition over such a tiny space. Does that make sense? I don't know. I think it's really interesting. So are these stereotypes true? No. I mean, stereotypes are never true, although there is, I think, always a kernel of truth at the base of it. We can definitely look at the differences between the North and the South from, quality of living, from employment, from wages, from education. So there's all sorts of different factors that influence, your life in a particular country and a particular area in that country. So I can definitely see how some of these stereotypes were born from something that is legitimate, but are they true now? You be the judge. Now, like I said, a lot of the people I spoke to were Scottish, so of course they are pretty much as north as you can get, very much northerners, and it's really interesting. Their relationship with the South is even more strange, and it's just, the whole thing is fascinating. Now, I did say I'd talk about Wales. Hi. Hello, Welsh. How you doing? Unfortunately, I think the stereotype with Wales is nobody really thinks about you. Sorry, guys. I kind of think, okay, if we're taking the 3 countries on the actual island, the ones that are attached, England is the big brother who everything is about him. He's pretty successful, but he's annoying and he's loud, and he makes sure you know that he is successful and wonderful. Scotland, I think of maybe the older brother who got into trouble and is a little bit like, he'll fight you if he has to, and he's kind of like, not the black sheep, but he's not the favorite child. He's just kind of like a bit moody, a bit like, nobody listens to me and I'm just frustrated and I'm beautiful, but nobody appreciates it. And then Wales is kind of like the younger brother who was maybe a mistake, whoops, and nobody really talks about him, and he's just kind of like off to the corner. But I think he enjoys that. Like, Wales doesn't want to be part of the drama. Wales does not care what you guys are talking about and what you're fighting about, because brothers, England and Scotland love to fight. They love to argue. Oh my goodness, you get them in a room together, they will never shut up. Where Wales is just kind of like, you know what, I'm not interested. I'm gonna be over here hanging out. I literally don't care what you guys are yelling about. It's like, life's too short to be yelling like that. Plus, our flag has a goddamn dragon on it, so we're super cool. So while Scotland and Wales don't always play into that north-south divide, I think it's primarily focused at England. But that doesn't mean that they don't have an opinion, because you all are stuck together. You're all literally stuck together on this tiny little island that fits into my home province 4 times. So whether these stereotypes are true or not true, and all the drama between them, It's a wonderful place, and you got to live together. Live together. You got to learn to live together. I think you're doing okay. So like I said before, please leave a comment on whether you are a Southerner or a Northerner. I'd be really interested to see what type of people watch my videos and if we're more Northern or Southern. What is interesting is I have more Northerners on my Patreon and my Twitch account, which is very fascinating. I appreciate it. And just thank you guys for being here. Thank you for listening to my ramblings. This is a really complex, very old issue. And I'm just a foreigner who doesn't really know much. Do these stereotypes still exist today? They do. I mean, we're talking about them, and we talked about them in my chat room and stuff, but is it something that impacts day-to-day life? I don't really think so. I think it's something that just kind of like is hanging out below the surface. I think it was quite a big deal at certain points in time, but now in 2020, I think it's maybe just not as big of a thing. Maybe that's just from where I'm living and I don't see it or hear it, but otherwise, I don't think it's something that influences day-to-day life anymore. But it's always interesting. Always interesting. No matter if you are a Southerner or a Northerner, those are hard to say after a while. No matter if you are from the South or from the North, thank you guys so much for supporting my channel and supporting me on YouTube, Patreon, and Twitch. It's just super nice. Y'all are nice. Have I told you that? You're wonderful. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye! I forgot to say I got a haircut. I don't know if you guys can see. Look how short it is. My hair used to go down to my butt, and I said, you know what? It's too heavy. So I got a haircut. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this on YouTube. Do people talk about that stuff? Anyway, half of my hair is on the floor of a salon somewhere. It's actually so straight right now, which it will never be just because the hairdresser like blow dried it properly. So just take a look at how straight my hair could be, because you will never see it again. This is not related to this video. I should stop talking.